All right, welcome to the Entrepreneur Insider Secrets podcast. Today we're going to be talking about something that I don't think gets nearly enough attention, and that is celebrating wins as an entrepreneur and learning how to incorporate gratitude into your regular routine and into your regular process. And this is something that is critical to your long-term success. You may be thinking, really, this is just, be grateful once in a while. Okay, great. Yay, we won. All right, move on. But what we don't realize is that because entrepreneurship is such a grind, it is such there's always this has to be done. There's always that has to be done. And unlike when you work for an organization, when something goes wrong, you're in charge of making sure that it gets fixed. When something isn't as good as it could be or should be, it is up to you to see to it that it gets improved and taken care of. And so what that leads you to is you're creating and building this whole new world. You're creating this whole new business, this whole new opportunity, this whole new thing that never existed before. And so in so many ways, I don't have all the email systems set up. I don't have all the website stuff set up. I don't have all the payment systems set up. And there's so many pieces that have to be built, constructed, and organized and put into place that it just becomes this like, well, I need to have this in place. Well, now we have something in place, but it could be so much better. It's not streamlined. It's not efficient. It's not organized. It's confusing. It's whatever. We need to upgrade this. We need to do that. Oh, we need to switch from this service to that service. It just becomes this long ongoing grind. It becomes this long ongoing process of like, okay, now what? Now what needs to happen? Because especially once you get started with having a bunch of customers come in, customers are going to do what they're going to do. They're going to try things. They're going to get confused. They're going to do the wrong thing. They're going to attempt to do something. You're going to go, what are they doing? Why are they over there? And so you realize, oh no, man, I guess that wasn't clear enough. I need to rewrite the instructions. I need to do a video. I need to do this. And so there's this endless list of to-dos. There's this endless list of how do we get better? How do we improve? How do we incorporate this now? I guess I should have done a better job with that. I guess I should have made that a more clear communication. Whatever it may be. Those types of things are always happening. There's always a way to improve. There's always a way to get better. There's always a way that something could be better. And even when you get things pretty well refined and going, there's the revenue side. Where you're like, we made this much money last month, but we really could be earning that much money. We really could be serving even more clients. We could be doing more than what we're doing. We need to get after this and we need to go for it. And as a result, there's always that pressure. Well, we did, $100,000 in sales. Why can't we do $250,000 in sales? Well, now we did that. Now how about 500? How about $1 million? And it goes and goes and goes until all of a sudden you're just like hammering all the way. And what it ends up doing is it creates complete exhaustion. And it creates this environment where you are constantly staring at problems. Now think about that for a moment. You wake up every day, and the first thing you do when you get up, you go and you start working on your business, and you're staring at the stack of things that are wrong day after day after day. You're just staring at a long laundry list. Well, that needs to be fixed. Somebody complained about this. That's a problem. This isn't working as well as it should be. I guess I got to go just keep hammering away. And then as soon as you get one problem fixed, another one shows up. Somebody else makes a comment. Somebody else says, well, you should be doing it this way. Or somebody has a conversation with somebody. We have another service you should be incorporating. And it just becomes this endless drain of like, okay, now what? Now what do I need to do? Now what do I need to fix? Now what do I need to have to incorporate? Now what has to be built? And if you don't watch yourself, what can happen is you can start to resent your business. You can start to resent all the things that you've built. Think about it. When you first started building your business, you did it in such a way that you wanted to build your dream life. You wanted to build a business that was going to make you financially free, that was going to allow you to do work that you loved, that was going to allow you to serve people, doing something that was very, very meaningful and important to you, doing work that was close to what you feel like you were given the talents and the abilities and so forth to do. And you have that inside of you, and you have that enthusiasm and the excitement, but you're now, instead of doing the things that you love and fulfilling that purpose, you're just staring at an exhausting list of challenges. That's what can happen. This is the problem. This is where things can quickly go off track. And you don't even have to be an entrepreneur for this. You could just even be in your career, and instead of loving the work that you're doing, you're just staring at problem. Complaint about this. Oh, a recommendation, you need to fix that. Oh, we need to change all these things. We need to upgrade that. And it's an endless string of tasks and problems and fixes. What is not being incorporated in there is the celebration of progress, the celebration of wins, the gratitude for all the amazing things that have happened. And what ends up happening is your attitude starts to reflect your daily life. When your daily life is, now what? Now what's wrong? Now what do I need to do? Now what does he want? Now what is the request? You see how that gets to you? You see how that affects your mindset? How that affects your motivation? How that affects the energy that you approach your day with? How that affects your creativity on how you look at things? It all impacts it dramatically. Because you are looking at this going, oh, I don't want to do this. I want to go on vacation. I want to break. I want to walk away. And suddenly you realize what you've done is created a job for yourself. You've created a job where you are literally sitting here hammering away at a job that you ended up creating for yourself, your own the little prison that you built with your own hands. And so how do we overcome this? How do we avoid this trap? How do we stay out of all those things? You could say, well, I just won't get that big. I won't allow myself to progress that far. Well, okay, but it still doesn't mean that you won't have problems. You will still have tasks. Maybe if you're not big enough, you're not making enough money. And so you're always, short on the cash, or maybe your business isn't organized very well. So it's very clunky. And the way that you deliver your service to your clients, it's just very inefficient, and it's not going well. You don't have to be big to have these problems. These problems occur at every level. And if you're only focused on that, which is the natural place to be as an entrepreneur, it'll kill your attitude. It'll kill your drive. It'll kill your desire to keep going. So why is gratitude so important? Well, we're going to talk about 3 things why gratitude is so important today. First one is gratitude rewires your brain for possibility. When you achieve something in your business, when something goes well, you need to pause and acknowledge that. And that is true of you. That is true of people who work for you, of people who do things with you. You need to celebrate that. You need to sit down and say, that was amazing. And we need to celebrate. You did a great job. I can tell you that I've seen it in my own life. I've seen it in the lives of other people. We go and we do all these work. We do work for clients. And if you've ever had a client that never says thank you, you ever had a client that never shows appreciation, and you just killed yourself doing these things for this client, and they just said, okay, and took off, and never once showed any gratitude towards you, you don't have as much of a motivation to help that person next time. And it doesn't take a lot. It can just be a thank you. Man, I really appreciate it. This is amazing. You did a great job. Thank you so much. Because when someone pours because think about it this way, when you pour your heart and soul into something, you're making withdrawals from your energy, from your life. You're pouring your heart into something, you're pouring your soul into something, and then there's never anything coming back. Gratitude is your way of getting something back. And again, I've seen this time and time again with people that have worked for me. They get tired, they get worn out, and I just spend a few minutes telling them what a great job they've done, how I appreciate them, how valuable they are, how important they are. And in 5-10 minutes, when they see and feel and know how appreciated they are, when they understand how valuable they are to the team, when I show gratitude for them, all of a sudden they're filled with life again. They're filled with energy again. And they're seeing possibilities. Because, again, think about this. If you are staring at a stack of work that needs to be done, and you're tired, and all you see is problems, how excited are you to tackle all these problems? You're not. You're running low on energy. You're running out of enthusiasm. But when you are feeling gratitude, when you're feeling excitement, you'll look at a problem and say, maybe there's a better way to do this. Maybe there's a better solution. Maybe there's a better way that I can help this all work together. Maybe there's a better way that this could all be solved. And when you do that, when you sit down and you take that attitude on, all of a sudden you start seeing possibilities. You know what? If we did it this way, I bet that would create this amazing result. If we did that way instead, or if we approached it from this angle, we might be able to do some amazing things. But again, what unlocks that? It's gratitude. Gratitude is the thing that unlocks all that energy. Gratitude is the thing that unlocks and rewires your mind for that possibility. You see, our minds, our psyches, in so many ways are programmed to spot problems and threats first, right? You know, you're walking down a street in a place that you've never been before. You see people that you don't know, and the first thing you're doing is kind of giving them a quick glance over to see, do I need to worry about these people, or are they okay? Do they look like good people, or do they look shady? Is this something that we've all been in those situations where we found ourselves in a neighborhood and I looked up at the people around me and went, uh-oh, I don't think I want to be here. I need to quickly gather my things, get in the car and go, because I'm not in a good place. We've all been there. So we have that natural instinct, and that natural instinct applies to our work as well. When we just see threats and problems around us all the time in our work, we tend to get into the defensive posture. We get into the posture where we have to protect ourselves. We have to defend ourselves from the threats that are on the other side. You're not looking for creative ways to create new possibilities in that mindset. You're looking for ways not to get hurt. You're looking for ways to not get abused. You're looking for ways to not be taken advantage of. That's where your brain goes. That's where your mindset goes. That's how you're thinking. But when you incorporate gratitude in, when you sit there and go, you know what? A lot of good things came out of this. And you can even take this approach when things aren't going well. Think about it this way. Let's say you decide you're going to launch your business. You're going to go out and do a marketing campaign, and the marketing campaign doesn't go anywhere, and you don't get any clients. Okay? Things didn't happen. It didn't work well. It didn't turn out right. And it just didn't result in any clients for you. And you're sitting there going, ugh, this is terrible. This is frustrating. This is discouraging. Or you could say, okay, what did I learn? I learned that is not the right approach, that messaging wasn't correct. And maybe you're looking at it and saying, well, I got a lot of people interested, so the front part of this is working well, but the offer to actually sign up and be a customer, they signed up to hear more and learn more, but the offer to be a customer they didn't jump at. So that's the part I I need to improve on. That's the part I need to get better at. That's the part I need to become more skilled at. And I'm grateful because now I know what to work on. See how gratitude rewires your possibility? Whereas before you're looking at that saying, oh, that's it, I give up, it didn't work, this is never going to happen, I should just quit and walk away. Or you can look at this and say, all right, that failure taught me where the problem is. That failure taught me where I need to improve. That failure taught me what isn't working correctly. Now I know what I need to do. Now I know where I need to get better. Now I know where to improve. Quite a different perspective. And when you have that attitude, now you're excited. Okay, how do we figure it out? How do we solve it? How do we get better? How do we do it again? How do we fix it? Because you know that you're actually one step closer to your goal. Because you have these other pieces working well, and now this is the piece that's waiting for you to resolve. And when you do that, you've unlocked it. You've unlocked your success. But that doesn't happen unless you have that attitude. That doesn't happen. And this is where, again, I've said many times in the past on the podcast that one of the primary reasons that people quit, one of the primary reasons people quit their businesses, they quit most everything in life, is discouragement. People get discouraged. Things don't go well. You know, it's this thing we call life. Life isn't easy. And if you haven't figured that out yet, you must be awfully young, because all of us are battling against things that aren't going as well as we would like them to. That is a natural part of the human existence. We all have problems. Problems are a sign of life. The key to improving your life is to improve the quality of your problems, to make your problems better problems. Problems like, how do I handle 100 customers and manage having 100 customers versus how do I get my first customer? See, both of those are problems, because managing 100 customers, I got to make sure these people are taken care of, that they're happy, that they don't ask for refunds, that they're getting what they need, that they're served well. Those are problems. They're things that need to be solved, but that's a far better problem than I can't even get my first customer. I can't even get the first person to say yes. That's a problem. That's a bigger problem. So your goal is to improve the quality of your problems. And when you look at this with gratitude, you can learn even from your failures and to say, I know where it failed. I know where it fell apart. And as a result of all that, I know what to work on. And I'm grateful for that. Life has taught me, my failure has taught me exactly where I need to improve. Great. I've identified it. I know the problem. I know the weak spot. I know the area that needs to be worked on. I'm going to go do it. And I'm going to go read books. I'm going to go watch videos. I'm going to study things. I'm going to learn things. I'm going to try and hear from other people who've been through similar experiences, and talk to people who have experience in this field and say, that's what I should be doing. Because ultimately, this can all be done. This can all be solved. But so much about whether or not you are able to achieve your dream, so much about your ability to get from where you are to where you want to be, is your ability to hang in there, your ability to keep trying, your ability to keep moving and keep going. And so much of that is determined on your ability not to get overwhelmed with the frustration, not to get overwhelmed with the discouragement. And the elixir for that, in so many ways, is gratitude. Learning how to be grateful for where you are, for what you have, no matter what the circumstances are. Not letting the problems become the predominant story, but finding ways to be grateful for the good things, for the things that you have, for the things that are around you. Secondly, celebrating wins, being grateful, builds momentum and motivation. Again, we talked about this a little bit. When you are excited about something, you're saying, hey, look what just happened. You know, we just did this and we had a win in this area. Maybe we just served a client and we just got a major project done for them and they're really happy with it. And you had to look at that. You just need to pause. And instead of just, okay, now on to the next one, what's the next set of problems for the next client that we need to solve? No, take a moment and go, hey, look at what we did here. Yes, we made a huge difference in that client's life, in their business, in their organization, and in whatever it may be. We changed the game for them. We did something significant. Let's take a moment and just, let's be grateful. Let's be thankful. Let's celebrate. Because this is why we're here. We create our businesses, yes, to generate income, yes, to, provide for ourselves, give ourselves freedom, but also to solve problems for other people. That's why our business exists, right? Our business exists because there are problems in the world that people need help with. And we are creating a product or a service or whatever it may be to help solve those problems, to help make those problems go away or make those problems be minimized, or conversely, to help someone achieve a goal that they have. Maybe they have a goal of something they want to achieve, and we can help them achieve that goal. We can help them get there. And we need to be able to stop and celebrate, because when you do that, how do you now go into the next client? How do you now go into that next problem? You're like, yeah, it's worth it. It's worth the work. It's worth the struggle. It's worth the headaches, the hours spent on all this. Because look at what happened. Look at what we were able to do. Look at the great results we were able to achieve. And you build that momentum and that motivation to keep going, to keep tackling the next problem, to keep going forward and to keep doing these things. And when you do all that, it moves the mountain. Suddenly, instead of sitting there going, now what does so-and-so want? Because you know as well as I do, when you have people that don't ever show you gratitude, that don't ever show appreciation, and all they do is complain, do you want to be around those people? No. And if you're around those types of people all the time, they'll wear on you. And the only way for you to get past it, the only way for you to work through it, is to look at yourself and say, even if they won't show appreciation, even if they won't show gratitude, I know what I just did for them. I know what I was able to achieve for them. I know what I was able to accomplish for them. That was significant. That was important. That was a valuable thing I just did. You can show gratitude and appreciation to yourself. Even if they won't. Even if maybe they're just busy and they don't ever even take the time to say thank you. Maybe they're just busy and don't ever take the time to show appreciation. They just take you and take what you gave them and here's the next thing. Okay. Even if they won't do it, you do it. You stop and go, look at what I did. Look at what I helped them achieve. Yes, I made a difference. Their life is now better because of what I just did. Take that, because otherwise your motivation goes down. You just stare at the next set of problems, the next set of problems, the next set of problems. If you have that, look at what I'm achieving. Look what a difference I'm making. Look at what I've accomplished. You then look at these things and say, I'm making a difference. And because I'm making a difference, I am motivated to continue making a difference because my life is valuable. The work I'm doing is meaningful and it has a purpose. I will keep going. I will keep pushing. I will keep grinding. I will keep doing the job because it's meaningful. I am motivated and I have momentum every day to get up and to continue to grow my business, to continue to serve my clients. It matters more than you can imagine. Lastly, the third point is gratitude creates abundance by getting you more of what you want. Now, think about it this way. When you are doing stuff, when you're building your business, like I said, we all know when you're building a business, there's always challenges, always problems. There's always all these things that you are looking at and going, Okay, now what needs to be done? Now what's the issue? Now what's the problem? But as your business grows, there's also benefits and rewards. You get paid, you get income, you get money coming in, you get rewarded for all your work. And as a result, you get benefits in there, and you get experiences, you get all these things. And when you do that, you start saying, okay, when I'm grateful for that, when I'm really I have a lot of gratitude for all the rewards that I'm getting out of this, from the experiences, from the knowing the importance of my work, from knowing the value of what I'm doing for people, you're getting the income from it, from getting some financial freedom out of it. I'm willing to wonder what else I could do. Wonder what other things I could put out there. How can I take what I've done and make it better? How can I make it more streamlined and more efficient, more easy to deliver the result for the clients, so that not only do they get the result quicker and easier, but it's less work for me? See how all that gratitude puts you in the mindset that unlocks your creativity to look for new opportunities? Opportunities for improvement, opportunities to do something else, to add something else to your business that you could potentially add in to earn more income and to do more things. The opportunity to make an existing offer even better or more profitable or more successful. All of those things are there, but they happen when you're in the mindset where you're excited about the future. When you're excited about your future, excited about the possibilities of what could be, you unlock that energy inside of you. You unlock that creativity. And I've done this before as well. I had an entire episode, if you want to go back and listen to that one, about the third path. And every time someone gets stuck in their life, when they get to a point where they can't move forward, too many times the reason is because they look at path number one and they see a problem. They look at path number two and they see another problem. And they think those are the only two paths. Either I stay in my job and I hate it and I'm miserable every day, or I quit my job and I have no money and I can't pay my rent or my mortgage. Oh, those are two pretty crappy options, aren't they? And when you're locked into thinking, and when you have no gratitude, when you're and no appreciation, you're locked into thinking, well, I got two options and they both suck. And you're not even thinking about the fact that you could get another job. You could start your own business. You could find some other way of doing this. But that only happens when you unlock that creative part of your brain. And you start to understand there are other ways of doing this. There is more than one employer in the world. There is more than one person willing to hire me. There are other companies and businesses and organizations that I could work for. I could start my own. I could do all these other things. That only happens when you have those creative juices flowing within you. It only happens when you unlock that inside of you and you have that potential flowing through you and you're going, I'm excited about the possibilities of what could be happening in my life. And the key to unlocking it is being grateful, because gratitude shifts your brain. Gratitude shifts you from a limited mindset, from a scarcity mindset, to an abundance mindset. And when you shift into the abundance mindset, instead of seeing problems, you see possibilities. Instead of seeing issues, you see the potential of what could be. All of it starts at the baseline of gratitude. If you want to have an amazing life, if you want to have an amazing success, if you want to create a better world for yourself, if you want to create a place where you can have the things in life that you really want, the first step in your journey is learn how to practice gratitude. Learn how to appreciate all the wins in your life. Even learn how to appreciate the failures. And what can you learn from those failures? What can you learn from what went wrong? How can you grow from that experience? What great things have come into your life now that you know how not to do something? What blessings do you have that you can get excited about, that you can look at and go, yes, this is what I need in my life. This is going to work out okay. I just need to keep going, because as long as you have the motivation to keep going, you will eventually succeed. That is the one thing that I know in this business, in the game of life, is the people who fail are the people who quit. The people who only see the problems, and as a result of only seeing the problems, they throw in the towel and give up. The people who succeed are the ones who refuse to quit. And they keep trying, and they keep trying, and they keep trying until one day they try a new way and it works. And when it works, everything changes. The only difference between the first person and the second person is the second person made more attempts. The first person quit early in the game. The second person just kept trying. And the reason the second person kept trying is because they believed in the possibilities. The reason that they believed in the possibilities is because they had a different perspective and a different mindset. The reason that they had a different perspective and mindset is they learned to be grateful for their lives. So that's it for this episode. I hope you got a lot out of it. I hope it was valuable for you. And if there's anything we could do for you, please check out designlaunchgrow.com. We would love to help you with your business. Otherwise, have an amazing day, and we will talk to you again very soon in the next episode.